got a question for you, Tank. At 147, how does a fight with you and Terence Crawford look?
Damn.
147? Shit, if I
147.
tap that chin, you know he going to sleep.
I already know. I already know
he
he
ain't
is.
got no chance.
I already know he is.
The fight between Tank and Crawford is still a hot topic in the boxing world, and it looks like their rivalry won't end anytime soon. For years, they have argued about who could knock the other out, but now the debate has shifted to who makes more money and who has the bigger wife, literally. Things got personal when Tank started making comments, and fans, along with Crawford, quickly responded. After Tank suggested a fight between them, Crawford had enough and decided to speak the harsh truth. He took to X and sent a direct message to Tank Davis saying, "Stop being scared and fight Shakur Stevenson and Keyshawn Davis," before talking about a level you'll never reach. Those words hit hard like a powerful left hook, adding more fuel to their heated rivalry in the boxing world.
And fight Shakur, Keyshawn, and stop being scared. That's probably why you ran your girl over and beat her ass, because she know you ain't got no nuts, my people. You know? And then right there, Gervonta pretty much insinuated, if I was to fight Crawford, I'll make him look little. Then they both said, yeah, I want dudes to see me and try something. That would be his last going.
Crawford's call-out is personal because Shakur Stevenson and Keyshawn Davis are more than just fighters. They are close friends of his. Keyshawn is even his protege, training under their shared coach, Brian Bomac McIntyre. However, to be fair, Keyshawn Davis hasn't fully proven himself on the big stage. His performances against Miguel Madueño and Nahir Albright were underwhelming, and fans quickly point out that he avoided facing Cuban star Andy Cruz, who beat him 4 times in the amateurs. Still, Crawford believes this is the level Tank should be at instead of constantly mentioning his name. While some find truth in Crawford's words, others believe Tank could actually stay.
GervontaDavis speaking about you. Is that ever a possible fight?
Yeah, if he want to dare to be great, he can be like all the other fighters that's moving up 2 weight classes and, daring to be great.
You would fight him.
Man, tell him to come up there.
He got to come to win 54.
He said I got a glass chin, so tell him to come and touch it.
Tank, unsurprisingly, has no interest in fighting the 2 names Crawford mentioned. GervontaDavis has built a reputation as a boxing superstar, and he knows his value. He sees no reason to give Keyshawn Davis the spotlight, especially since Keyshawn lacks a strong fan base or marketability. Then there's Shakur Stevenson. While he is technically skilled, critics call his defensive style boring. Even Eddie Hearn, who signed Shakur hoping to make him a global star, is struggling to market him in the U.S. Tank doesn't see a fight with Shakur as worth the risk or effort, especially since he would be the one carrying all the promotional weight. But Crawford wasn't done. He took things to another level with a harsh tweet, one that has since been deleted, where he mocked Tank's character and even brought up his personal controversies. "That's probably why you ran your girl over and beat her ass, because you don't got no balls and she knows it," Crawford tweeted, ending with a laughing emoji. Boxing rivalries are nothing new, but this one has reached a different level, especially with 2 of the sport's biggest names involved. Usually fighters insult each other's careers or fighting styles, but when family and personal issues get dragged in, things can spiral out of control. The personal attacks are getting brutal, showing just how deep this feud has become. Crawford isn't just questioning Tank's career choices, he's going after his pride. Tank didn't take the insult lightly. He fired back, accusing Crawford of chasing money instead of greatness. According to Tank, Crawford calling out Canelo Alvarez for a fight in Saudi Arabia is more about securing a massive payday than building his legacy. "Y'all really think he's chasing greatness?" Tank posted on X. "He's not. That's just what he has to do to make decent money." The numbers seem to back up Tank's claim. Reports suggest Crawford's last fight against Israel Madrimov only brought in around 75,000 to 100,000 pay-per-view buys, a small number compared to the massive figures Tank generates with each fight.
You got guys who are really, really, really good, and they're not really hell-bent on becoming a star. I put you in that category. I put Terence in that category. Maybe Shakur, where they feel like they don't really want to.
Crawford sees things differently. He says moving up 2 weight classes to fight the unified super middleweight champion is about securing his legacy in boxing history. Legacy is the word he uses, but Tank isn't convinced. For Davis, Crawford jumping 2 divisions without first. Proving himself at 168 lbs seems more like a desperate move than a bold challenge. Fans are split. Some admire Crawford's ambition, while others agree with Tank, believing the Canelo fight is more about money than glory. The rivalry between Crawford and Tank isn't new. It dates back to Crawford's dominant win over Errol Spence Jr. As Crawford celebrated becoming the undisputed champion, Tank made headlines by claiming he could beat him at 147 lbs. Crawford later responded on The Breakfast Club, staying calm but confident. If he comes up to 147, thinking he's just going to knock Terence Crawford out, he's got another thing coming, he said. His response was measured but carried a...
How you feel about that fight? Is it even possible at a catch weight?
There ain't no catch weight. You come up to 47.
Not even entertaining a catch weight.
No, I'm not.
He's a champ though too, undefeated.
And what champ? Come on, man, tell me what belt. You know boxing. You forgot Devin Haney is undisputed. Devin Haney got all the belts. He the champ. Nobody else the champ. I'm gonna come up here where the big boys at.
Despite all the trash talk,
despite the war
a fight
of words,
between Crawford
a fight
and
between
Tank
the two seems unlikely. Crawford has his eyes set on Canelo Alvarez, a matchup that promises both legacy and financial rewards. Meanwhile, Tank Davis has his next opponent lined up, Lamont Roach Jr., with a fight scheduled at the Barclays Center on March 1st. Fans of both fighters are left to wonder, is this all just talk, or could there be a future where Crawford and Davis step into the same ring? What makes this rivalry even more fascinating are the controversial takes swirling around it. Some fans and analysts argue that Crawford is punching down by engaging with Tank,
who fights at 135
pounds, Tank is significantly smaller.
A fight at 147
and a fight against Crawford at 147 or beyond would be a mismatch.
Others, however, think Tank is overconfident and underestimating just how dominant Crawford is at higher weight classes.
Lead with ego. Like if you hear somebody like Tank say 147, I knock Bud out.
Well, he just talking. Mm-hmm. You know, he got the confidence in himself that he believed that he can do that because he's been knocking all these fighters out that he's been in the ring with. You know, so no knock to Tank, but there's definitely levels.
Then there's the question of marketability. Crawford may not be the pay-per-view star that Tank is, but his achievements in the ring speak for themselves. Should legacy matter more than popularity in boxing? Tank, on the other hand, is no stranger to controversy. Critics accuse him of cherry-picking opponents and avoiding the toughest challenges in his division, including Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney. Crawford's comments about Tank being scared resonate with those who believe Davis still has something to prove against the best. However, Tank's supporters see it differently. They argue that he has nothing left
to retire with the career that he got, then go ahead and do whatever you got to do. So I disagree with it. I think it's soft, but that's on him.
Terence Crawford has finished 31 of his 41 fights inside the distance, while GervontaDavis boasts 28 knockouts in 30 bouts. If these two powerhouses ever faced off, it would be pure chaos in the ring, the kind of chaos where legends are made. Crawford's precise dismantling of opponents is a stark contrast to Tank's explosive out-of-nowhere knockouts. But they share one undeniable truth. When they sense weakness, the fight is as good as over. Brian Norman Jr., a fighter who has sparred with Crawford, described how Crawford doesn't rely on single, fight-ending punches. Instead, he breaks opponents down systematically, a slow, punishing process. He doesn't necessarily one-shot people, but he just beats you up and then finishes you, Norman said. However, when it comes to raw power, Norman gave Tank the edge. As far as one-shot power, I've got to give that to Tank. The key difference? Crawford's brilliance lies in his ability to adapt mid-fight, switching stances and exposing weaknesses in real time. Davis, though often underrated for his ring, IQ thrives in chaos, while Crawford methodically controls every move, making his opponent fall into his trap. Boxing legend Roy Jones Jr. weighed in, praising Davis's explosiveness. That's the one thing Tank has that Errol Spence didn't. In boxing, an explosive fighter can go a long way, Jones said. His words carry weight. Spence, an elite technician, couldn't handle Crawford's adjustments and relentless pressure. But Davis is a different kind of fighter, a predator who can change everything with one devastating punch. Critics argue that Tank's level of competition doesn't match Crawford's, and it's a fair point. Crawford has beaten elite names, like Errol Spence Jr., Sean Porter, and Kell Brook. But in a fight between these two, one thing is certain. Power, skill, and adaptability would collide in an unforgettable battle.
Yeah, Tank brings something different. You know, back in the days, everybody had something. Muhammad Ali was a mover boxer, George was a puncher, Ernest Shavers was a puncher. Everybody had something they brought to the table. Larry Holmes had a jab. Mike Weaver
has ventured into the toughest challenges in boxing and not only survived, but dominated. Davis, meanwhile, has beaten names like Leo Santa Cruz, Ryan Garcia, and Rolando Romero. Impressive, but not quite the same level of opposition Crawford has faced. And yet, that's what makes this fantasy matchup so intriguing. Davis has a knack for making elite fighters look ordinary, proving he might be capable of rising to Crawford's level. Physically, Crawford would have the advantage. He's naturally bigger, has a longer reach, and is used to fighting at higher weights, even up to 154 lbs. But with Tank's explosive power and unpredictability, it's a fight that would keep fans on the edge of their seats.
Top 5.
Where do you rank Terence, in your opinion?
I put him in the top 15, maybe the top 10, because he definitely has the skill of a top 5. Just that he hasn't had the opposition that some guys were able to get, and that's not his fault. He just made one of the best fighters in his weight class look like nobody. That's pretty damn good.
Though shorter and more compact, has never had trouble carrying his power through weight classes. However, fighting someone like Crawford at 147 lbs would push him into uncharted territory. Stylistically, Crawford's versatility would be his biggest advantage. His ability to switch seamlessly between orthodox and southpaw could frustrate Davis, forcing him to think instead of react, a situation where Tank might struggle. But let's not underestimate Davis. He isn't just a wild puncher. His calculated breakdown of Ryan Garcia, ending with that perfectly placed liver shot, is proof of his high ring IQ. Davis doesn't just throw punches, he sets traps. The question is whether he could set a trap for someone as experienced and tactical as Crawford. Then there's the X factor, Tank's ability to end a fight in an instant. He doesn't need to win rounds. He only needs one clean shot. Against a fighter like Crawford, that's a dangerous weapon. Crawford, for all his brilliance, has been hit before. Jose Benavidez Jr. found success early against him, and Egidijus Kavaliauskas even managed to wobble him. If Davis lands flush, it could be game over, no matter how dominant Crawford had been up to that point. Ultimately, this hypothetical fight comes down to two key questions.
405. 405. There you go.
Questions aren't easy to answer, which is why the idea of this fight sparks so much debate. The heavy hitter from Baltimore, Davis, has claimed he would knock Crawford out. Maybe joking, maybe not. But Crawford, the bigger man, has warned him not to punch above his weight. This kind of trash talk only adds fuel to the fire. And in this case, it's justified. Davis may have the edge in raw power, but Crawford's mastery of boxing fundamentals makes him a nightmare for any opponent.
Stop closing up and let it go. Keep turning, step around. Keep turning.
And the outcome of this fight would come down to one thing: who could impose their style first? Crawford with his suffocating control, or Davis with his explosive chaos? While this fight may never happen, The debate around it is crystal clear. It's a battle between two fighters who each define clinical precision in their own way. Davis with raw power and sudden knockouts, Crawford with calculated systematic destruction. A matchup like this would divide fans, fuel endless debates, and enrich the sport just by existing as a possibility. Crawford has finished 31 of his 41 fights inside the distance, while Davis has 28 knockouts in 30 bouts. But beyond the ring, there's a bigger discussion at play, the growing influence of Saudi Arabia in boxing. Some, including Crawford and other fighters, have criticized Davis for resisting this shift. Others, however, see Tank as one of the few staying true to the sport's traditional roots. Even former champion Tim Bradley recently praised Davis for not chasing Saudi paydays. That's why I respect Tank. "Hey Tank, you got a new fan, dog. You are a real one," Bradley said on X, applauding Davis for standing firm while many fighters are looking to align with Saudi promoters for massive paydays. Whether this fight ever happens or not, the debate isn't just about skill. It's about legacy, business, and the direction of boxing itself.
It is the heavyweight.
Oh, not again.
Oh, you are in serious
no.
trouble. You are in serious trouble.
They know I love the heavyweight. You can add any fighters you want as number 5 heavyweight, not fighter only from Queens Bay.
This isn't the typical story in boxing. For years, fighters have chased the biggest paydays wherever they could find them, and now Saudi Arabia has become the new hotspot. From Anthony Joshua's rematch with Andy Ruiz Jr. to Tyson Fury's upcoming fight, the promise of massive payouts has drawn many of boxing's biggest names. But Davis is taking a different path, one that has earned him both praise and criticism. His words on X made his stance clear. "LOL, they have to go over there to make money, and I still do it from where I'm from. Be America. Most people built on a dollar sign, no loyalty at all. Anything popping, y'all jump on it. Why didn't they invite everybody? But they invited people they deal with. Stop chasing. Look at that little rat thinking he came up on something. Now tell them all to fight each other since they have a heavy roster." Davis isn't just rejecting the Saudi money. He's questioning the entire system. While many see Saudi Arabia as a golden opportunity, Davis believes in self-worth over a blank check. He's already proven he can sell out arenas and break pay-per-view records without leaving the U.S., something few fighters can claim. In a sport where financial security often comes before fan loyalty, Davis's stance is rare. Tim Bradley's recognition of this adds weight to a growing counter-narrative.
Like what he's about, he's all about making the big fights happen, and I'm all for that, you know. But I've got a team, you know, I've got a professional team with me, and
If you go over there and take back everything you said, if you kiss the ring for $150 million, you know Shakur is over there. That's why I respect you. You're saying, I don't need Shakur because you don't want to go over there. You don't want to kiss the ring. But if you go back on your word, then you're going to lose a big fan, dog, and I'm going to come at you. I'm going to come at you, dog. For real. Bradley's words hit home for fans who feel boxing is losing its soul, becoming more about money than the sport itself. Tank's refusal to kiss the ring isn't just about turning down a paycheck. It's about loyalty, legacy, and proving that boxing can still be about pride and staying true to your roots. Not everyone agrees, though. Critics argue that Tank is making a mistake by rejecting the opportunity to fight on a global stage and earn massive paydays. Fighters like Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, both respected champions, are reportedly aligning with Turki Al-Sheikh for major fights this year. Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney are also rumored to have signed deals, showing how the boxing world is shifting toward Saudi Arabia. But Tank remains firm in his stance. To him, the Saudi boxing scene goes against what the sport should be about. A rare perspective in today's era of huge paydays and global promotions. Interview 14. Top Pot fans on social media are split on Tank Davis's stance.
Big fights, I don't understand. Give me good offer and we give you good fight. You don't want Okay, keep it in your way. We see a lot of interest over for him, and he doesn't respond with what we think is good for boxing.